everyone. If you're here, you're probably like me. You know, you want to keep up with everything that's going on, but who has the time to sift through all the noise, right?
Absolutely.
That's what we're doing here, a deep dive into AI and like how it's affecting our lives, like personally, you know?
Yeah, we've got some really interesting stuff to look at.
Yeah, and like how it's changing how we relate to each other and even how we see the world and even how we think about things like therapy and stuff.
Right. It's going way beyond just like practical uses, you know, it's really getting into like the core of who we are, what it means to be human.
And that's kind of what jumped out at me from these articles we've been looking at. There's this whole thing about convenience, you know, like AI makes things so much easier.
Sure.
But then it makes you think, what are we giving up for that convenience?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Like, is it worth it? You know, especially when it comes to some of the things that make us human. So first up, we're talking about AI companions.
AI companions.
This is like straight out of science fiction, but it's happening now.
It is.
People are forming relationships with AI, like for real.
Yeah, I mean, you've got these apps like Replica and EVA, AI, and they're designed to be companions.
Yeah, like a friend, but it's an AI.
Exactly.
And people are loving it because it's always there, always listening, no drama.
No arguments.
No judgment, no ghosting you, you know.
Always available.
Exactly. So on the surface, it sounds pretty great. But one of the articles asked this question, and it really stuck with me. It said, is that love, or are we just tired of trying?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Like, are we so over the whole messiness of human relationships that we're willing to settle for something that's like easy but not real?
And are we losing something important in the process?
Right.
Because, you know, those difficult parts of relationships, the arguments, the misunderstandings, they're not always fun, but they teach us things.
They do.
They help us learn how to communicate, how to compromise, how to be more understanding.
It's like working out your relationship muscles.
Exactly. And if we avoid all that, if we just go for the easy option, are we going to be able to handle the real deal when it comes along?
And speaking of the real deal, one thing that's making it harder to tell what's real is deepfakes.
Oh, yeah.
This stuff used to be just a gimmick, but now it's getting serious. Can you break down what deepfakes are and why they're such a big deal?
Sure. So basically a deepfake is like, you know, you take AI and you use it to create fake videos or audio that looks and sounds totally real.
Like scarily real.
Yeah, and it's not just for fun anymore.
Right.
People are using it to spread misinformation, to manipulate people, even to like ruin reputations.
It's crazy. They were talking about how people are using deepfakes to like put words in politicians' mouths that they never said, or to make it look like celebrities are doing things they'd never do.
Right.
And it's only getting harder to tell what's real and what's fake.
And that's the scary part.
It really makes you question everything you see and hear. One of the sources even said, like, in a world where your image can be hijacked, what does identity even mean?
Right, like it's not just about fake news anymore.
Right.
It's about like the whole idea of truth being undermined.
So we've got these fake relationships, and then we've got this fake reality with deepfakes.
Right.
And then there's this whole thing about AI therapy.
AI therapy.
Yeah, like instead of going to a therapist, you talk to a bot.
A bot.
And apparently it's getting pretty popular.
It's interesting.
Because, you know, therapy can be expensive and there can be long wait lists.
I see.
And with AI, it's like instant access, 24/7.
Right.
The sources mention that they can guide you through meditations, give you advice, even like try to be empathetic.
Like they're understanding what you're going through.
Right. But one of the things that really stood out to me was this idea that like a bot can listen to you, but it can't really hold you, you know?
I think a distinction.
Like there's a difference between being heard and being held.
Right.
And I think that's what's missing with AI therapy. Like a bot can remember your words, but it doesn't really remember you.
Yeah, it's not going to remember the little things, the nuances.
It's not going to cry with you when you're sad or celebrate with you when you have a breakthrough.
Right.
And I think that human connection, that feeling of being truly seen and understood by another person, that's so important, especially when you're dealing with something difficult.
Yeah, AI can simulate empathy, but it can't actually feel it.
Right, and I think that's a huge difference. So all of this, the AI companions, the deepfakes, the AI therapy, it makes you wonder, like, are we slowly being replaced?
Replaced by machines, right?
Yeah.
That's the big fear.
Right, and the sources had some interesting thoughts on this.
Yeah, they were saying that in some ways, AI is already better than us.
At certain things.
Yeah, like if you need something done quickly and efficiently, If it's a task that requires logic and precision,
Right.
AI can probably do it better than a human.
Right, but the articles made a really good point. They said that where humans excel is in the messy stuff.
The messy stuff.
You know, like navigating ambiguity, being
Yeah.
compassionate, understanding nuance, all those things that AI just can't replicate.
Right, that human touch, that intuition, the creativity, all of that.
Exactly. They called it like the soul, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And one of the most insightful things they said was that maybe the biggest danger isn't AI itself, but how we choose to use it.
I see what you mean.
Like, are we so focused on convenience and efficiency that we're willing to give up the things that make us human?
Are we trading authenticity for efficiency?
Exactly. Like, are we choosing predictable algorithms over genuine human presence?
Yeah, it's almost like we're being offered a shortcut, but we
Yeah.
don't know where it's leading.
Right. And the articles highlighted some specific things that they think are irreplaceable about human connection.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Okay, first they said imperfection.
Imperfection.
Yeah, like the fact that we make mistakes, we screw up, we apologize, we learn.
Right.
That whole process, that's part of being human,
Right.
and it's how we grow.
AI doesn't make mistakes.
Right.
It doesn't have to apologize.
The second thing they mentioned was presence, like real in-person presence.
Yeah.
The kind of connection you can only get from being in the same room with someone, sharing a hug, laughing together, picking up on all those subtle cues that you just can't get through a screen.
That's so true.
And then there's emotional risk, which sounds kind of scary, but they said it's actually essential for deep connection.
Yeah, because when you open yourself up to the possibility of being hurt, you're also opening yourself up to the possibility of real love and intimacy.
Exactly. It's about being vulnerable, letting your guard down.
Right.
And that's something that AI, at least for now, can't do.
It can't feel those emotions.
Right. And then finally, there's that thing we were talking about earlier, the soul,
The soul, yeah.
that intangible essence that makes each of us unique, that can't be programmed or replicated.
Right.
So at the end of the day, what do you think is the main message here?
I think it's a cautionary tale, really.
That's a cautionary tale.
Yeah, like AI has so much potential, but we need to be careful about how we use it.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we're not sacrificing the things that make us human in the pursuit of convenience and efficiency.
Right, and the sources really emphasize the importance of introspection.
Introspection, huh?
Like really taking the time to think about how these technologies are affecting us, both individually and as a society.
Yeah, because it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of new technology.
It is.
But we need to step back and ask ourselves, what's the cost?
What are we giving up?
Exactly. And the sources left us with this really thought-provoking question. They said, so before we ask, can AI do this for me? Maybe we should ask, what does it cost me if it does?
That's a really good question.
It is. It really makes you think.
It does, and that's what we're hoping to do here. Just get people thinking, start a conversation.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.